So this is Mark meets Gareth James, the Executive Creative Director at TMW. Hi Gareth.
Hello.
Can you give us a quick summary of your career to date?
Okay, if I go right back to the start, it's probably, aside from having a ZX Spectrum and learning how to program it in the 80s, which is probably where my technology obsessions began, I did a degree in Middlesex University, and that degree was in what they then called visual communication design. Back in the sort of mid-90s that was, so it was kind of just as email addresses were beginning to kind of hit, and I think we had a 14k modem in the uni.
Everyone had to share.
Yeah, exactly. God. So made a lot of noise. So it was a graphic design course, so very much about printmaking, that kind of stuff, typography. And as the course kind of developed, I got more and more reminded of some of the geeky computer games that I might have made back in the 80s. And then started to think about the internet and what that could do, and I got really excited, made my first animated GIF, got really quite excited about that. And subsequently every brief that they gave me in the course wasn't ready for the internet, but I started to answer it with various animations or CD-ROM ideas back then. Fortunately didn't do particularly well at the uni. I did pass the degree, but
just about
because of that, because I wasn't kind of answering the briefs properly, they didn't like me that much. But managed to get a job at my degree show, and that was with a kind of internet startup agency. They were working for the BBC on an innovations project for the year 2000.
What are they called?
They were called Helium. No, at that time they were called Fusion New Media, which was kind of based kind of Shad Thames area, where it was all sort of happening kind of then in the... And
when new media was new media.
Exactly, so that was when new media was new. We upgraded to a 36k modem while I was there. So that was really exciting times actually. There was only a few of us. Really kind of interesting project, very technical. So half of my job was programming, half of it was being creative and doing design sides of things. So one minute I'd be learning how to kind of code a streaming audio player. The next minute I'd be trying to make it look beautiful as well. So it was very much a kind of what you might call a creative technologist role nowadays, but that was how we had to do it. We were making it up as we went along. Was there for a year or so. They changed their name to Helium 3 Limited. Got involved in kind of digital publishing. I think, quote unquote, we launched the first broadband magazine website, which, when you think about it, at the time nobody really had broadband, so we were kind of showing off our flash skills or our director skills at the time a little bit too much, and that didn't really work. But it was really interesting, again, just to be there sort of at the start, kind of all excited about kind of where it was all going, but maybe we all did it a little bit too soon, and nobody was quite ready for some of it.
Then after that, what agencies did you move on to?
From Helium 3, I then moved on to join a company called The Team. They were more of an integrated shop with a small digital bit inside it. So I was kind of a senior designer come technologist there, doing, I think it was launching Microsoft Office or something like that, so CD-ROM stuff, kind of programming, that sort of thing. Worked on a digital side of Sleaze Nation magazine as well, so a bit more kind of digital publishing. Spent a couple of years there, and then moved on from there to Razorfish London, and that was when Razorfish were in Smithfield's Market. Was there for about 2 years, I think. That was a good time as well, because again, it always feels like you're on the brink of doing something. I think in a digital agency, everybody thinks that they're on to the next big thing, which a lot of the time they are, but it was very much like that at Razorfish, very much kind of the dot-com bubble at its most kind of big. It was kind of ready to go. So it was a great time there. Lots of interesting projects, working for, on all kinds of different things, very experimental stuff, all the way through to kind of quite early, quite functional e-commerce, things like that. That all went tits up. So the whole the whole bubble kind of burst. It was around the time of boo.com that, you know, everything was going wrong. The industry was kind of faltering a little bit. So that was the time to sort of jump out of Razorfish, and I think that must have been about 2000, 2001, something like that. And as I was leaving Razorfish, I got a call from TMW, who at that time were a DM agency, so very much doing print things. They'd done 1 or 2 digital things, but they wanted to set up a digital arm, and they were just starting to do that. So I came in as the creative to lead growing the department, building the creative digital side of TMW, and we formed Digital TMW then back in around about 2001.
Fine. So you've been here for how long?
10 years.
Been here for 10 years. And you're now Executive Creative Director.
That's right.
Cool. If you could design a spice rack for a blind person, how would you do it?
Okay. Tricky. I think it would have to be, I think, through sound. So maybe there's some kind of touch thing, or you wave your hand, or you press the top of each thing, and it could tell you what spice it was. Yeah, so using audio, I think if it was smelly or taste or something, it could get a bit dangerous, couldn't it? You could just pick up the hot chilies and taste to find out what it was, you could be in trouble.
If you could turn back time in your career, what would you do differently?
God, I don't know. You stumped me on that one. No, I can't think of anything.
Okay. Fine, maybe you wouldn't change anything.
No, I should change a lot of things actually. Maybe I'm not prepared to say what they are. I don't know.
Fair enough. What's the best thing about agency life for you?
Best thing about agency life is definitely having lots of different kinds of people around you, very interesting people, people who are brilliant at all kinds of different things, and also having people coming up kind of through the ranks who are younger, kind of bringing ideas and kind of hopefully doing things better than you might have done back when you were sort of their age. I think as well, being the creative, it's always nice to, when you walk into a room and the work's up on the walls, having that kind of moment where you think, oh shit, I wish I'd have done that, that's a really nice idea, and being pleased about that and kind of helping nurture that. So it's all about variety and lots of exciting things going on all the time.
How hands-on are you these days with the creative process?
Absolutely hands-on every day. So there is a fair amount of time spent dealing with clients, talking to clients, working things out like that, but certainly I think it's important to have the senior people working on the work as well as everybody else, so very much so.
What does someone have to do to creatively impress you?
I think it's about showing work that surprises me, or showing work that, well, like I said, that I hadn't, if something hadn't occurred to me and they've come at it from a different angle, a different insight, a fresh kind of view on things. That's definitely something that gets me excited. Okay.
In the current economic climate with things not looking too great, have you ever had the threat of redundancy before in your career?
Yes, so I think twice that's happened to me. Once kind of very early on in my career that happened, and then again sort of happened a few years later, kind of year 2000, sort of .com bubble bursting. I think it's always worked out very well, actually. It's always been a kind of very scary but very good chance to shake things off, think about things differently, and go for the next thing. So it's always been a catalyst, actually, for me, not too much of a worry.
So when one door closes, another opens.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to people that are kind of possibly worried about, I guess, the security of their jobs at the moment?
I think, funny enough, you should always be a bit worried about the security of your job. It's kind of
even if there wasn't a recession, just always be.
I think so. Yeah.
Mindful.
Never feel kind of too comfortable about things. Never be too kind of happy about everything. Always always keep your eyes open, looking around, seeing what else is happening in the world out there. So I wouldn't worry about it at all. Be confident in the fact that if you know your stuff, you will be able to go and meet new people, get new opportunities, that kind of thing.
Okay. If you could work for any agency in the world, apart from TMW, who would it be?
I've always, there's quite a few sort of people who are doing some really nice work. I really like the stuff that Big Spaceship are doing. I've always been a fan of High Res. I quite like to, I like the stuff they're doing. I think actually we've been working with, or around some of the stuff that BBH have been doing with Links lately. I think they've done some fantastic work recently. Though I think that the geek in me kind of, I like the things that Chris Milk has been doing, the Chrome experiments, the Arcade Fire stuff. That kind of quite excites me, sort of music industry, meeting, kind of interactive art, whatever you want to call it. That kind of thing would be quite an exciting thought.
What do you do outside of work? What do you do in your free time?
I like to get a lot of exercise. I do a lot of cycling. I try and do a lot of skateboarding because you can't do much snowboarding or surfing kind of where I live, so the skate park is the best place to unwind, I find.
Are you the oldest person in the skate park?
Funnily enough, no. I think there's been a bit of a renaissance. Lots of people who loved it in the 70s and 80s are coming out of the woodwork.
With the same equipment or with new stuff?
Yeah, same equipment, older bones and joints.
Yeah. Fine. What's been your favourite account to work on?
Actually, I think the Links client at the moment is the most exciting opportunity we've had over the last couple of years. Lots of emerging technologies, very challenging audience, so a young kind of teenage audience. Lots of workplaces to explore in terms of Facebook, social engagement, that kind of thing. So that's been a lot of fun.
And what's your favourite advertising campaign of all time?
Actually, we were looking at it just now, and it's the old Levi's 501 ad, the absolute classic, which is, I think it was Nick Kershaw. And we had an argument about who it was, whether it was Nick Kershaw or whether it was Nick Kamen. Actually, it was Nick Kamen. Getting in, stripping off, putting his jeans in the washing machine with a load of stones. That was an icon, absolute classic. And that level of icon doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to a quick fire round. FWA or NMA?
FWA.
Fruit or veg?
Fruit.
Can line or D&AD pencil?
Pencil, probably.
Cats or dogs?
Neither.
Art directors or copywriters?
Neither.
Apple or Android?
Android.
Degree or no degree?
Don't mind.
Ant or deck?
Cat Dealey.
Good answer. Retained work or pitch work?
Pitch. No clients. It's always better.
Web or mobile?
Mobile.
Independent agencies or networked agencies?
Well, that's a tricky one. I'm in a networked agency, but probably independent agency, actually.
Okay. Outsourced production or on-site production?
Either, as long as you get to communicate with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And lastly, twist or stick?
Stick.
Thank you very much.